everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm getting extremely regular with all this YouTube uploading, so don't get used to it. It's because I've got 2 weeks off of work, so I've got so much time to play with and dedicate to YouTube, which is exactly what I'm doing. And I'm also kind of unofficially making some sort of series because I'm super excited for international travel to come back soon. So I'm making tons of videos that will be helpful for everyone who wants to get straight into traveling as soon as all of the bans are lifted. So today's video has been extremely requested all over my TikTok and YouTube, and that is tips for nervous flyers and how to defeat your fear. You will not actually believe how common the fear of flying is. I deal with people pretty much every single flight who are extremely nervous to be on that plane. Some people don't admit the fear and they just kind of deal with it themselves, but other people do like to let us cabin crew know. And we have tons of tips, and I've wrote loads down for you guys today of tips that hopefully will help you with defeating your fear and getting to the skies as soon as the bans are lifted. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and find it useful. If you do, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, and also like the video down below. So let's get started. This is a really annoying time for the washing machine to start spinning the washing, extremely obnoxiously as well. So I'll let you guys into a little secret. So before I actually had my first ever flight, I'd only been on a plane probably about 3-4 times, so I had no idea what to expect, and I was a little bit scared. But the more I flew, the more my fear actually turned into adrenaline and loving flying. So I just got excited rather than scared. And just remember, us cabin crew are there in case anything goes wrong, and we are fully trained for anything on that flight, including childbirth. That is a true fact. We are trained for childbirth, but we are there to deal with anything that could go wrong. So have faith in us, and we are there to support you as passengers. So I made a list of about 10 tips that are not just generic tips that you can find online. I wanted to go into a lot of detail and come up with some more unique ways of trying to defeat your fear of flying. So I really hope that my research and all my note taking has been useful. So the first tip I have for you is start by doing a few shorter flights. So maybe 30-40 minute flights, which do exist, believe it or not. So for instance, an example, you can fly from London up to Manchester. That's a 30-35 minute flight. You can fly from London to Brussels, and that's about 45 minutes. So just start with shorter flights just to get yourself used to flying, especially if you've never been on a plane before and you are just scared of the whole experience and you don't know what to expect. Just start with a shorter flight, have a weekend away. You can even try flights up to like Dublin and Belfast. They are great cities to go and visit for a weekend, and the flights are nice and cheap and short. So it's just a good way to ease yourself into the experience. So alongside the first tip I just gave you, I would highly recommend avoiding traveling on your own and bring a travel companion, just 1 or 2 people, such as a parent, friend, sibling, someone that you're really close to that can be a source of comfort to you during the flight. It's just nice to have someone that you know really well to be there with you, to reassure you, be a source of comfort, and just nice to have someone there to talk to about your feelings during that moment. If you feel like you can't talk to the flight attendants, at least you have someone there that you know can be a real source of comfort to you during the stressful experience that you're going through. So the third tip I have for you is to leave plenty of time to get to the airport, as there is nothing worse than having to worry about being late for your flight, let alone being actually worried for the flight itself. I'm not talking about leaving 4 or 5 hours just to sit at the airport and just wait around. I would say get to the airport with at least 2 hours before boarding. Leaving these few hours just gives you time to adjust to the extremely busy environment of an airport, and I cannot emphasize enough how busy it will be when travel returns to normal. So this time you can use to check in, go through security. Once you're past security, the most stressful part for me, I think, of the airport, you can just have plenty of time to sit down, have something to eat and drink, explore the duty-free shops that are available in the airport, just any way you can to distract yourself from the flight until boarding. So this tip is probably one of the most common tips that you would be told if you have a fear of flying, and that is to bring something with you on the flight that will distract you. So for example, this could be a book, it could be a mini console such as a Nintendo Switch. You could bring some skincare, so face masks, moisturizer, just things to keep you busy during the flight. And if you want to dive straight into the deep end and go on a long haul flight, there is pretty much always in-flight entertainment for you to watch. And in addition to the in-flight entertainment, just in case it doesn't take your fancy, it's always good to have a backup and maybe download some movies and TV shows on Netflix that you know you enjoy. Maybe download something that you've watched before that you know brings you comfort when you watch it. For me, that's Gossip Girl. I've watched Gossip Girl about 5 times and I can watch it over and over and over again, and I will never get bored of it. So something like that you can download and is easy to watch. Another good tip on downloading things to keep you entertained is I've recently noticed on Spotify that there is a lot of like relaxation sounds and meditation sounds that you can download for the flight and just listen to if you want to send yourself to sleep or just in general relax in the busy environment of an aircraft. I think having relaxation sounds as an alternative to movies and TV shows are really quite important because it's a really good way to help control your breathing, especially if you're anxious. So you can just pop your headphones in, close your eyes, and it's just a really good way to control your breathing and avoid the possibility of a panic attack. One tip that is really useful if you are choosing to travel alone and you are a nervous flyer is to let the flight attendants know that you are a nervous flyer. We understand that people deal with their feelings in different ways, so it's a really good opportunity to let us know how you would like to handle your situation. We'll be happy to talk you through all of the different sounds you're hearing from the aircraft that are a bit unusual, all the way to just leaving you to your own devices and maybe checking on you every now and again to see how you're doing. If just letting us know that you're a little bit nervous and that makes you feel at ease, that's absolutely fine. You'll probably hear this a lot from flight attendants, but we see ourselves as so many different things on board: nurses, waitresses, and also onboard counsellors. So we will literally be happy to talk you through anything to make you feel better in our environment. So this tip might not be for everyone, however, it might be useful before you go on your flights to research into the science behind flying and aviation. So the main thing I'm talking about here is you'll probably want to look into turbulence, as I feel like that's the one factor that a lot of people are scared of when it comes to flying, and it is absolutely nothing to be scared of, but just understanding why it happens is sometimes reassuring. It also might be useful to look into the science behind flying and how planes actually fly. I think knowing the facts and the science behind flying is actually a lot more useful than you may think in easing nerves, and it just helps you avoid thinking of the worst case scenarios that could happen when it comes to flying. I also will add that the chances of anything bad happening on your flight are extremely low. I cannot emphasize it enough. So during this remaining time that we are still in lockdown for, use this time to understand your phobia in a bit more detail. So what I mean by this is understand whether there are any subconscious fears behind your fear of flying. So what I mean by that is it claustrophobia? So are you afraid of being stuck in a metal tube and not being able to leave during a certain amount of time? Is it a fear of heights? So you hate looking out of the window and seeing how high up you are, that just gives you the creeps? Or is it the fear of something going wrong? So there are so many fears behind flying, and it's good to understand which one of those you fall into. I mean, you don't necessarily have to fit into one category, you could be afraid of all of them. So I think understanding your fear of flying just helps you cope with it better. So merging all of this together, one solution for that is picking an aisle seat. So for the height, you don't have to look out the window. For the claustrophobia, you can get up and walk around during the flight. And you can also get up and talk to the cabin crew if you hear anything that you think, oh, that doesn't sound right, and just trying to manage the situation a bit better. So I think choosing an aisle seat is a good option if you are scared of flying. So to help understand your fear of flying a lot more, there is the option out there to go to have counselling specifically for fear of flying to help, as I said, understand it more and see what the problem actually is. So This solution isn't available to everyone. It can be a pricey option, but it is useful. I've heard that it is a very useful service out there. This is also a good solution if your fear is extremely severe and you know that you're not going to be able to combat it alone with going on a flight. I think it's quite nice at the moment because obviously we cannot go and see people in person, so you can have a one-to-one session with a therapist over Zoom or FaceTime in the comfort of your own home to help specifically focus and target your fear of flying. I think for me, if I was in that situation, I would much prefer how it is right now if I had to go to see a therapist about my fear of flying. But as I said, that option isn't for everyone. It's just to put it out there for you. A massive one, this is absolutely massive and I cannot stress this enough, is to avoid alcohol before a flight. So alcohol is a drink that people associate with relaxation. However, at altitude, it does the total opposite. Alcohol makes it so much harder for your body to adjust to being airborne, as being up there is a massive strain on your body. And a fun fact, it also worsens jet lag as well. So when you actually arrive in your destination, you will feel so much worse than anyone who has not had a drink before or during the flight. The reason I'm emphasising this so much is because you want to have a positive experience of flying and you do want to remember the experience. So avoiding alcohol is almost a must if you do have a fear of flying. So one of the final tips I have for you is, even though the chances of something bad happening on a flight is extremely low, in fact, the figure is there is a 1 in 3 million chance of something extremely bad going wrong in the flight. However, it is good to be fully prepared just in case an event should occur. You'll probably notice that a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, totally ignore the safety briefing at the start of the flight. However, I cannot emphasize enough, especially if you've never been on a plane before or if you've never been on that type of plane before, it is so important to pay attention to that safety briefing. I always say knowledge is power, and especially so when it comes to evacuating an aircraft and survival. So just listening to that briefing, understanding how to use an oxygen mask, how to use your life jacket, where your nearest exit is so important. So listen to your cabin crew. We're not just there to serve you food and drink, we are there primarily for safety. So watch that safety briefing, be aware of your nearest exit just in case. The final thing that I wanted to put out there that I actually found the other day when I was doing my research for this video is there is actually a free video on YouTube that was made by Virgin Atlantic purely for people who have a fear of flying. So the video is called Flying Without Fear, and they go into so much detail about all of the sounds that you will hear being a passenger on a plane. And it's good to get a sense of what they sound like, so all of the dings that you hear, all of the loud noises from the landing gear. Just having an understanding of what you're going to experience is just so useful. And as I said, knowledge is power. Knowing these things is super useful for your fear. I just thought it was an extremely useful video, so I'll pop it in the description box below, so after this video you can go and watch it, and you can also save it to a playlist somewhere on your YouTube so you can refer back to it if you ever decide to book a flight in the future and you just want to do a little bit of research beforehand. I think travel is one of the best things ever, and flying enables us to do that. Flying just isn't for everyone, and that's okay, but for me it's so sad to see some people miss out on opportunities to travel the world because they're scared of flying. So I really hope this video helped some of you guys out there that are scared of flying. Even if just 1 or 2 of these tips helped you to think about maybe booking a flight once the travel bans are lifted and defeating your fear, that would make me so happy. So I'm excited to start bringing people to places all around the world for happy reasons and not sad reasons because of the pandemic. So thank you guys for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. As I said at the start of the video, subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more videos like this ready for when the travel bans are lifted. I'm really hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers soon. I don't know when it will be. My target was for the end of the year, which I really hope I can achieve. So please help me towards that goal. And I will see you guys in a video very soon.